Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Is my screen visible and am I audible?
Yes, absolutely perfect.
Okay. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala ashrafil mursaleen wa khatamin nabiyyin. Rahmatil lil alameen. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wakhlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. Respected President of Indian Muslim Associations, Janab Shamil Parvez Sahab, respected General Secretary of IMA, Janab Arshad Habib Sahab, respected IMA Youth Wing President, Brother Dawood Hassan, respected Brother IMA Youth Wing General Secretary, Brother Faisal. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to all of you and the executive committee members of IMA and IMA Youth Wing for organizing such very useful and a webinar which is need of the hour. So without much delay, I would like to start my webinar. Is my sound not clear?
It's clear, sir. Looks perfect to me.
All right. So, okay. So, thank you, Brother Faisal, for giving me a kind introduction. It was pleasing to hear from you. But what is actually, who am I actually is, on your left, you see everybody who's attending this webinar, okay? And on the left, on the right, you have the Friday lunch waiting for you. And I am the man in the middle, right? So I understand the time that we have started this webinar. This is the peak time and you all are looking to enjoy the delicious Friday lunch that has been prepared. And those who are attending from countries outside of Kuwait, Kuwait has a weekend on Friday, and we have very happening and friendly and family meetings during lunchtime. So I'm actually in the middle of you and the lunch that is waiting for you. Okay, so I understand this part and I will try to make it much crisp, clear, and to the point, inshallah. Okay, so what is covered in this webinar is I will quickly explain why do we need such an awareness about cybersecurity, and what are the potential cyber threats that we would come across. And there are different types of online frauds that you need to be aware of, and how can you prevent yourself, and some practical tips for prevention, and how not to fall victim for cyber crimes and frauds, right? And then finally, I will give you some etiquettes about using social media, and that would be my conclusion. So these are the things that are covered, and what is not covered is, or what you will not get from this webinar is, you will not get a chance to win a lottery as your New Year gift, okay? And I am not going to teach you how to hack into someone's Facebook account, or I am not going to give you a career guidance or any sort of advice on how to begin your career in cybersecurity. Or I am not a part of any training institute and I'm trying to sell you some certification courses or trainings, all right? So if you, I hope I have set the expectations right. And so why do we need such a webinar and on a Friday afternoon? It definitely is an important and crucial topic. That is why we need to have such webinars, and it needs to be done frequently, all right? So I'll explain why do we need such a webinar with an example of driving a car, right? So we all have, we all can relate to this example, right? So before you drive, what is given to you? A set of training, a set of do's and don'ts, rules and regulations that you need to follow, right? To be followed while you're driving, so that you will avoid any accidents, you will avoid any mishappenings, and you will be safe during your driving, right? So that is why we have we have been given this license, examinations, driving training, which will make you aware of the driving rules and regulations, right? To make it safer for you as well as for everybody who's driving on the road, right? So, and even then, what happens when you don't follow the rules? You get into all these fatal accidents, right? So because of human negligence and error, 90% of all road accidents are related to human error. Okay, so because we are negligent about the safety rules, because we are ignoring the safety trainings that we went through before getting the license to drive a car, because of that, we fall into such accidents, and the driving experience becomes unsafe for you as well as for those who are around you, right? So that is why it is important to have constant reminders in our lives. So these icons, I'm sure you would have seen it in your car dashboard or on the on a highway, flashing, saying that you need to fasten your seat belts, obey traffic rules, do not overspeed, speed leads to death. So these are constant reminders for everybody. These are not new. These are not something that that the driver doesn't know, but these are reminders, because reminders are helpful for us, right? So that is why we need to have such sessions. And I thank IMA Youth Wing, once again for having such webinar, which will serve as a reminder for all of us to be safe online when it comes to using our online services. Okay, so with that prelude, I would like to start the exact content of my presentation, which is cybersecurity awareness is required because it teaches the rules and risks of the internet. Okay, and when we are aware of the risk and the practices, best practices, we are less likely to get into trouble, right? Do you agree with me? And then security awareness makes us safer online and helps us protect sensitive data and systems from cyber attacks, right? So when you are aware of the attacks, when you are aware of the risk, you are less likely to fall into those traps, right? And you can protect your sensitive data or your systems that are connected to the internet from cyber attacks. Okay, so that is why we need to have such cybersecurity awareness. Okay, and it is the need of the hour right now, especially when we are at the end of a pandemic situation. We all know that during COVID-19 pandemic, the digitalization has become so much more than ever. Right, we are all connected, far more connected digitally than ever before. Right, so COVID-19 pandemic has led to an inevitable surge in the use of digital technologies due to social distancing norms and nationwide lockdowns. So you're not able to use services that are available for you at a walkable distance during lockdowns and curfews. So you're forced to use something online to get your requirements fulfilled. So unfortunately, this widespread of phenomenon makes us more vulnerable than ever to malicious attacks, cyber attacks, invasion of our privacy, and we are prone to online frauds and other such unpleasantries, right? And then everyday consumer experiences like phishing schemes, ransomware attacks, identity theft, data breaches, and financial losses. So these are the negative impact of digitalization, I would say, for a end user or for a normal non-IT technical user. And according to a report by NetScout, it just takes 5 minutes to launch an attack to any device, device that gets connected to the internet. We call it Internet of Things, IoT. It could be, your smartphone, your smartwatch, or your onboard automobile computer, or smart television, or home control systems like IP light or IP clock or whatever. Whichever is connected to internet, it is bound to be receiving online attacks right after it gets connected to the internet. So we need to be aware of the potential cyber threats so that we will protect ourselves, our data, and our systems from such attacks, right? Okay, so let me introduce you to the potential or common cyber attacks, okay? So let me ask you, how many of you have heard phishing? How many of you have heard about phishing? Can you raise your hand or that's good. Okay, let me give you some options. Option A, is it a type of cyber attack aimed at fishermen? Or B, a type of cyber attack where criminals trick you into handing over sensitive information or installing malware? Or C, a fun weekend activity? Or I would like to add an option D, which is, it is actually FISHING misspelled as FPHISHING. What is the right answer, brothers and sisters who are attending this webinar? What is the right answer? B, that's right. So it is actually a type of cyber attack where criminals trick you into handling over sensitive information or installing malware in your devices. So that is the most common cyber threat that you could encounter while using internet. Okay, so let's get into details of phishing. Phishing attacks are the practice of sending fraudulent communications that appear to come from a reputable source. Okay, so you get an SMS, you get some text messages on your WhatsApp or some emails to your personal email, which appears to be from a reputable source or known source, but it is actually a fraudulent communication, right? It is usually performed through email, text message, or instant message on your social media. And the goal of this phishing communication is to steal your sensitive data like credit card and login information, or to install a malware into your computer or your machine. That is phishing. Okay, I'm sure these are a common messages that you might have seen online, or you might have received it yourself from your known family or friend circle, right? How many of you have received this KFC offer saying that you have a $2 family meal box ready to be collected, and KFC is giving away for their 85th anniversary? Or this, for all girls, you have something very attractive. So these type of messages, it motivates or it interests the receiver to click on certain links or download some attachments or download some applications, right? Or it takes you to the targeted website. And this Costa Coffee is giving away free $75 vouchers. All these are spam messages, and this is all part of phishing attack. All right, so you need to be alert of all these unusual messages that may come from an unknown source or even from your known and reputable source. Okay, you just need to be very careful about such communications. Okay, What are the risks of phishing? Or when you get attacked, when you're compromised through this phishing attack, what happens is either your money gets stolen from your bank account, by making some credit card purchases or online purchases. So they might use your bank details to steal your money from your bank account, and you might lose your personal data like your photos, your videos, your phone contacts, or some important files, or even some sensitive information that you might be saving in your devices. All right. And then you have fake social media posts made in your accounts because your account, your username and password is compromised. Somebody has hacked into it, or somebody you might have accidentally provided because of this phishing attack to the hacker. So that hacker has your login and username and password, so he can make fake social media posts on your account, on your account. And cyber criminals impersonating you to a friend or family member, putting them at risk. So they get access of your personal contacts, right? So they will impersonate you and send message from your account, from your email ID or social media account to your your close friends or relatives, and asking for some help. Most likely it is some financial benefit, like for financial request. And so it puts your close friends and relatives into risk. These are the risks of phishing. Now I'll give you how you can detect a phishing attack. Okay, these are like 6 points that you need to make sure or you need to notice to identify if it is really a phishing communication or is it a genuine one. So the first one, it is a generic greeting. So what happens is when a phishing email sender sends you some communication, he doesn't know who you are. He is just trying his luck, right? So he sends you an email with generic greeting. So it says dear customer in this email, in this example. So it doesn't say dear Salih or dear Abdullah, dear dear Saufil, but it says dear customer, right? So it is very generic greeting. So it could be sent to n number of accounts, right? And second one is it generally invokes fear. Okay, it is very important. It tells you that if you don't act right now, or if you don't do this, or if you don't get back to me, 1, 2, 3 negative things will happen to you. Your bank account would be frozen, or you may not, your SIM card will become inactive, or your flight tickets might get cancelled, or whatever. All right, so they will invoke fear in you. And third thing is it will require an urgent action or an immediate action. So they will always ask you, if you don't get back to me within 8 hours, you will face these negative consequences. So these are something that you need to look for when you interpret some emails, whether it is phishing or genuine communication, right? And fourth one is, like I said, threatening language. Okay, here it says caution. If this issue is not resolved within next 72 hours, we will permanently suspend your account. Okay, so this is also another sign of a phishing attack. Fifth one is normally they have grammar issues. Like you will not have a perfectly written official email or an SMS. It will have some grammar mistakes. It is very common to find grammar mistakes and issues in those communication. And sixth one is it has a generic closing. It does not say who the sender is or which organization he belongs to, what position he holds, and what are his contacts. So all these things are not mentioned in the email, right? So these are the 6 points that you need to remember to identify whether a communication that you have received, it could be an email, or it could be a social media post, or it could be a WhatsApp forward in your family group. right? So you need to be very careful whether these 6 are getting fulfilled. And if it is, so make sure and be sure that it is a phishing attack, right? Why phishing is it is very common is because, you know, there's a survey or there's a data which says you know, the number of emails that is being sent as a phishing email to online users is huge actually. Can you guess how many emails or phishing emails are sent each day worldwide? Is there any guess? Like, can you guess? Is it 10 million emails sent across the internet worldwide? Or is it 25 million, 75 million? The right answer is actually 150 million phishing emails are being sent on a daily basis to users who might be vulnerable to those emails, okay? So you need to be really careful. This is very common method of cyber attacks that might reach to anybody, any online user, be it, you know, he is an IT professional, non-IT, young, old, working, not working, IT guy, non-IT guy. It could reach anybody, right? So that is why you need to be very careful about phishing attack. So like it said, if it looks fishy, then it's definitely phishing, okay? So it cannot be so true to be true, right? The next common cyber attack is malware, okay? Malware is actually a short form of malicious software. So they have combined malicious software and called it malware actually. So malware is a file or a code or a software which is typically delivered over a network that infects, explores, steals, or conducts virtually any behavior an attacker wants. So it's basically a code, or it could be a software that has been sent over a network into your device to get infected, and so that an attacker could explore or steal or conduct some malicious activity without even the victim knows about it, you know. So malware is typically installed on a computer when a user clicks on a link, downloads a malicious attachment, or opens a rogue software program. So malware is installed, or it gets into your computer or in your machine through these ways. So when you click on a malicious link, or you download some attachment that contains a malware, or you open a software that has been infected already. So because of these methods, malware could actually get infected into your system. So malware is one of the biggest threats online and has been used in some of the world's greatest cyber attacks. In 2017, a very famous malware attack called WannaCry, you know, it attacked more than 200,000 victims in 150 countries, right? So malware is something serious, brothers and sisters. So you need to be really careful and cautious about getting infected by a malware on your computer. So once installed, attackers can use the malware to spy on your online activities, steal your personal data or your financial information, and use your device to hack other systems as well. So there are people who says that, you know, I'm not really worried about cyber attacks. I'm not really concerned about any malware or viruses that gets into your computer. Why? Because I don't have any sensitive information. There is nothing that I could actually be stolen off. So what happens is, malware, the hacker uses your computer resources to launch attacks on other computers. So your computer becomes his helipad, you could say, you know, where he launches cyber attacks from your PC, from your machine. So everybody, whether you have sensitive data or whether you don't have sensitive data, you need to be careful about malware, right? So Very common types of malware are ransomware, spyware, and adware. Ransomware is actually, it is a malware where once your system gets compromised by a ransomware, the hacker or the attacker would blackmail you to give them a ransom amount, like most likely a financial benefit, and they will threaten you that if you don't provide me that ransom amount, your data will be lost. You cannot retrieve your information or data on your computer. So they encrypt, they make it jumbled, not readable data, and unless you pay them, they will not unlock it or decrypt your data, so that you will gain back your data and information. So that's ransomware. Then you have spyware. Spyware is basically an attacker builds this software or a malicious software and installs it in your computer, and then he monitors and he observes your online activities. So through this spyware, he knows what kind of person you are, what kind of sites do you use, which all bank accounts do you have, in which all banks do you have accounts, all those things. All right. So then you have adware, then you have worms, trojans, and botnets. So there are many different types of malwares that you need to be aware of. All right. Next is man-in-the-middle attack, right? So you have a server like, let's say, Facebook or Google, for example. And as a user, when you open a web browser, and type google.com, then you have a connection from your computer all the way to the Google server, right? So that is the real, genuine connection. But what happens in this man-in-the-middle attack is, there is an attacker or a hacker who eavesdrops your communication. That's either eavesdrops or intercepts the communication. So he could either listen as a silent observer and capture a copy of all the traffic that is flowing from your computer to the server and whatever data that you download from the server, or he could intercept it and act as though he is the server and receives the request from the user and sends it on his behalf to the server, and then he becomes a man in the middle. So what happens is, whatever transactions or data that you type into those website are being exposed to the man in the middle, right? And then you have denial of service attack. Denial of service attack is basically, let's say, a server that is a company which is providing service to its customers. Let's say NBK, for example. NBK, it has a lot of customers who are using online banking, right? So to do an online transaction, I need to actually be connected to the NBK server to do my transaction, right? So what happens in this denial of service attack is, the hackers, it could be one person, or it could be one source, or it could be multiple sources. They generate requests to the server. The amount of requests is so much that the server crashes, or the server is not able to process that many requests in that amount of in that specific amount of time. For example, if a server like google.com or facebook.com can process a request from, let's say 100,000 users per second, it can request process the request from 100,000 users. Imagine 2 billion requests are bombarded into Facebook server. What happens is, Facebook server goes crazy. It goes unresponsive, and then finally Facebook crashes, and then no user across the globe can log into Facebook and use their service and products. So that is denial of service attack. Okay. So these are the common cyber threats. But if you think that these are the only available potential cyber threats, then you are mistaken actually. We have a lot more type of cyber threats and potential cyber threats that you need to be aware of. But because of time constraint, I have only highlighted the common cyber attacks that are available online. Okay, and the attackers or the hackers are very creative people. You know, they come up with different types and mechanisms and tools and techniques to hack into any system or a user device. So we need to be, you know, upbeat with our antivirus or anti-malware solutions. Then I will move on to different types of cyber crimes or frauds that you may call it, and how you can avoid getting trapped into it. Okay, so there are different types of cyber crimes that you need to be aware of. These are just most of you are might have experienced it firsthand or might have heard about it. But these are just reminders for all of us so that we will be aware of such frauds. And I will also give you how tips and techniques to avoid getting into such traps, right? So the first one, just give me a moment, I'm getting internet issues. Just bear with me for a few moments. I'm getting internet issues at home.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Mohammed Salih. Do you need any assistance from our technical team?
Can you give the user Mohammed Saleh co-host? I joined from another laptop.
Okay, you want me to change the access? Change the host access?
Yes, can you give access to share content?
Just a moment. Brother Tayyab? Brother
Yes,
Tayyab, can you assist?
yes. What's the username? Just tell me.
Salih Mohammed.
Okay. Yes, done. I think you should be able to do now.
Yes. Sorry about that. We were discussing about the online frauds or cyber crimes that we need to be aware of. And the first one I will talk about is lottery fraud. I'm sure this is very common, where the person who does this fraud sends you a text message or an email, or even call you on your phone stating that you have just won a lottery, or you have some gifts that have that you have won, and we need to deliver such lottery or gift. And however, in order to receive the money, you will be required to provide your details like your bank account number or your ATM PIN number or some identification number for them to process this delivery of this lottery amount. So this is very common, and how you can prevent such lottery fraud is, first, never respond to any unexpected email notification or phone call explaining that you have won. You know, this is actually capitalizing on our materialistic nature. They say you have won a large sum of money in a lottery. If you haven't, so what happens is, this is very common sense, right? If you haven't bought a lottery or involved in some online gaming or a draw, you can never win it, right? So that is so simple. So you need to be very careful. Where if you have not participated ever, you will never win, right? You need to participate or buy a lottery, for, although it is haram, which is just for an example. You need to buy a lottery to win it, right? So I hope the point is clear here. I've made the point clear. Second one is never ever disclose your bank details or pay fees in advance. So they will never require an amount that needs to be transferred to them so that they can process the transfer from them to us, the lottery amount. So this will never happen. So never disclose your bank details or pay any fees in advance, all right? And then if someone asks you to make a payment to receive the lottery, it's definitely a trap, okay? So don't ever do that. Now, second type of fraud is job fraud. This is also very common, where a job scam occurs when a scammer poses as an employer or a recruiter and offers attractive employment opportunities, which requires the job seeker to pay some money in advance. They say that there is an opportunity in some X country, and we need some amount to process your, migration or your job offer. So what happens is, this is actually under the guise of work visas, travel expenses, or credit checks that are required for the job. So they will say that these are required to process your visa, your accommodation, and logistics, so that you will land into your job in some country or some company. Once the money has been paid, the scammer disappears and the job seeker is left with no job and no refund. So he loses his money. So once you trust them, and once you feel confident that, okay, it is a real offer and I need to get this offer, you start and then you transfer some amount of money based on their request. And then that's it. That becomes, the last communication you have with that, the fraud guy. And then he disappears with no job or no refund for you. And then how will you prevent such job fraud is, firstly, legitimate job-related emails will come from corporate email accounts. Okay, so if you receive an offer, make sure that it is from a corporate email account, not some recruitment@gmail.com or some agent at yahoo.com. No, if you receive such offers job offers from such emails, you need to be extra careful. You need to check and verify more than once here. Okay, so always large enterprises or reputable companies, they have their own email account domain IDs. So they will send from, for example, if it is nbk.com, you will have hr@nbk.com sending you an email asking for an interview. So that is a genuine job opportunity. All right, and then you have no legitimate company or recruiter will ask for money upfront. Okay, so even if you have to travel just for the sake of attending an interview, most of the companies will bear the expenses of your travel, your accommodation, and all the interview expenses that comes with. So you need to be aware that large reputable companies, they always take care of the interview expenses and they will never ask for any money upfront. And most reputable companies will absorb these costs themselves, right? So this is how you can prevent from job frauds. Next is Ponzi scheme. I will be going a little faster here because I'm running out of time. Ponzi scheme is actually, is a fraudulent investment operation where the operator pays returns to its investors from new capital paid to the operator by the new investors. So what happens is, it is a Ponzi scheme wherein you have some X amount of investors and trying to get new investors into their scheme. So they pay the dividend to the existing investors from the deposit amount or the investment that is coming in from the new investors. So what happens is they keep running this scheme for some time, some years, some months, and then once they get money stacked up, and they just close the system, and whoever has joined the last will lose their money. They will not get anything in return at all. So this is a Ponzi scheme. Typically, they promise extraordinary returns on the original investment. So you pay only 10 KD and you're about to get 150 KD in return. So how can that be possible, right? You need to think, analyze before giving 10 KD and joining these Ponzi scheme. So the third point I want to highlight is the fraudster will vanish with the investor's money. So the system will eventually collapse with later investors receiving nothing, including their initial investment. So this is what happens in all of the Ponzi scheme systems or companies. How can you prevent yourself from such Ponzi scheme frauds is, if you are considering any type of investment, seek advice and do research before investing. All right. So you always need to do your due diligence before investing. It could be little or it could be a lot of amount that you're planning to invest. You need to do your due diligence. And ask about the board of directors who are managing the scheme, and ask to meet at least one of them. You need to make sure that the company that you are investing on is somebody that I can trust with, or the board of directors, or the owners, or the investors, or the partners. I know at least one of them. I know I have direct access to at least one of the board of directors. So in that case, you trust them, and then you can start investing there. So and then Ponzi fraudsters are they use vague technical jargons to describe their non-existing investments, such as high yield investment program, global currency arbitrage. So they use all these hi-fi, which is confusing for a common man, and then they trick them using these hi-fi jargons and phrases. So don't get dazzled or swayed because of this. And then the matrimonial fraud. After posting an impressive online profile on a matrimonial site, posing as a prospective bridegroom, fraudsters befriend a woman. Okay, and then what happens is they use some voice-changing applications or tools to pose as the parents of the bridegroom when talking to the woman they are trying to attract. And then once they gain confidence, the fraudster asks the woman to transfer money into their bank accounts, starting an emergency, right? So stating an emergency. So this is what happens on a matrimonial fraud. But how can you prevent it? These are the prevention methods. Always ignore requests to send money and report the matter to authorities immediately. So, okay, when they're asking some money, you should either ignore it or report it to the concerned authorities immediately. And never give your financial information, such as credit card numbers, to people who you befriend on the internet. This is a general rule, actually. So anybody that you befriend on the internet, you should not hand over your bank account details to them. And then do a criminal background check of the person who has sent expressed an interest to you. And then meet the person in public places only. Do not encourage such meeting in private where you cannot get help from anybody if something goes wrong, right? And then inform your friends or family about where and who you are going to meet in case if there is any meeting with regards to matrimony. And then the charity fraud. I do not want to spend much time. I need to complete my slides, so I'll go a little bit fast here. Charity, of course, you need to make sure that any charity request that comes in belongs to some reputable organization, or it comes through a very known and reputable source, or the beneficiary yourself. So these are the conditions that you need to make sure before giving a charity. And then dumpster driving. So your trash, whatever you think, you might be discarding your old computer or throwing away some CDs or some pen drives that are not usable. That might be trash to you, but it becomes treasure to a hacker. So that might contain some information which are sensitive, which are confidential, which may be useful for a hacker to get into your system or your accounts, and they will use them actually. And the tips to avoid dumpster diving is to destroy your trash and make them not readable, so that anybody who gets their hand into your trash gets no readable data or some worthy data, right? And these are the browsing tips that you need to follow to keep yourself safe online. First one is you have to choose a secure browser and always update your browser. Okay, don't use any X browser, and use different passwords for different sites. And don't use one common password for all the accounts that you have online. And it is not the best practice. And then always browse with secured websites. So the websites which starts with HTTPS, those are called secured websites. And then beware of duplicate websites. For example, KFC.com might be original one. The duplicate one is KFC-bucket.com or KFC-offer.com. These are not real ones. These are not real websites. So you have to be very careful about these duplicate website names, and beware of the short URLs. Now we are in any meeting invites or registration links or any websites. What we do is we shorten the URLs instead of a long lengthy one. We shorten it and send it across. But you have to be careful about clicking on those short URLs, because you don't know where the short URLs will take you to. And then always be cautious about what you're downloading. Okay, it could be you need to make sure that what you're downloading is what you actually require. And then you protect your Wi-Fi password with some strong password. Don't leave it to your default system passwords. And be very secure with online shopping sites. Like, you don't trust anybody asking for any credit card information. Make sure it is the genuine and proper shopping website that you are actually intending to shop from. And the last one is log out of your secure websites after transaction. Once you finish the transaction, make sure you always click log out and come out of the login session. So this is what I said. You need to make sure that the website is secure. Like, you need to have this, that lock icon, and then with HTTPS. This will give you a surety or confidence that the website is actually secure. And then there are ways to protect your personal information. First one is, you should stop giving away your personal information to anybody who asks online. And then you should check your mobile app permissions. Like, whatever apps that you download on your mobile, it asks for some permissions to access your data, right? These are, you can see it in the privacy settings of your mobile phone. So make sure that you are not giving more access and more privileges than the role of the app itself. Okay, so you need to make sure that you give appropriate privileges and permissions for the applications that you download on your data. And then you should constantly review your security and privacy settings, make it a habit, and also use complex and difficult to guess passwords. Okay, don't use some very admin, for example, Facebook username and Facebook password. No, this is very insecure. And the last one is always keep your antivirus software or your operating system or your any application that you use updated with the latest security latest version, because as and when they release these updates, they try to close the security gaps or vulnerabilities in their product. So always make sure you check this online auto update. Okay. And then the social media etiquettes, I think I do not have time, so I will go. I will just go to my conclusion slides, where the social media is actually a very powerful tool. It is just like any other means, such as you have wealth or power and influence or position or some technology that you're using. It can be used either for good purpose or for bad purpose, right? So social media is something similar to those. And you need to be very careful about how you use them. And it serves as, these are positive sides of social media. It serves as news and information. It enhances learning and education. Right now, it is easier to get students online connected from the comfort of their homes and start teaching Islamic education, or it could be your academic education. And then finally, you can develop your business through social media. You can reach to masses because of this business media, social media, or you can develop your career using social media. These are positive side impacts of social media. And these are general etiquettes that you need to follow, even if it is on social media or online or even in your day-to-day personal life. Always maintain good character, okay? Because character is what is, there is nothing heavier on the scales of on the day of judgment than a good character. This is as per Sahih Hadith from our Prophet ﷺ. And respect others. Don't attack the honor of another Muslim, okay? And then this is probably the final slide. Writing is like speaking. So when you speak, when generally people speak with care, caution, right? And they try not to speak lies, they try not to backbite, and they try not to slander, and they try not to speak which is not authentic. But when it comes to writing, sitting behind a computer screen and writing a post about somebody or to somebody, they don't take it as though they are literally speaking to them. Okay, so writing is like speaking. You need to understand this, all right? And then do not belittle others. The Prophet ﷺ said it is sufficient evil for a Muslim to belittle his fellow brother. Okay, and then do not lie. Lie is actually one of a big sin considered in Islam. So never a Muslim can lie, even if it is posting a social media message or sending a WhatsApp forward. You should not fall into lying. Do not swear or curse, and do not backbite, and be gentle, polite, and forbearing. Okay, because Prophet ﷺ said, the strong is not the one who can out-wrestle another, but the one who controls his anger. Okay, so always be calm and composed when you respond to or talk to anybody online. And then you have online modesty. You should always respect the privacy of others. Lower your gaze online, and do not use social media to interact with the opposite gender in an unlawful way. do not boast about your sins online. Because when you expose your sins online, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept it secret from public, you yourself are boasting about your sins online, then it is really a disaster for us, actually. So and we are recommended and encouraged to hide the sins and criticisms of our fellow Muslims, right? It's better to hide them than to publicize them, their mistakes or their sins in the public. So when it comes to our own sins, we should never be boasting about them. And finally, we should respect the privacy, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded in Surah An-Nur, saying that, "O you who believe, enter not houses other than your own until you have asked permission, and greeted them those in them. That is better for you in order that you may remember." Right? So Islam gives a great deal of importance for others' privacy. Do not intrude into their privacy. Do not spy. Do not speak about their secret internal matters that they may be very uncomfortable sharing with the public. Right? So don't do it. Okay, I hope I have given you enough awareness and given you tips and guidelines and aware about potential threats. So and now I really hope that you don't drive like this. Okay, don't be a person after getting all these reminders and awareness about cybersecurity. Do not drive this way. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Once again, thank you, IMA Youth Wing, for organizing such wonderful webinar. And I really enjoyed this this experience. And I hope to continue this relationship with IMA and IMA Youth Wing in the future, inshallah. Jazakallah khair once again. And I thank Brother Ishaq for inviting me and for this opportunity to deliver my, to share my knowledge and experience with you all. So thank you, Brother Ishaq, as well. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for such an amazing presentation on the given topic. It was indeed a very enlightening session for all of us. Dear brothers and sisters, now we are just 10 minutes away from our Friday special chicken biryani and pulao, because now we'll be ending our session by the concluding talk by the organizer of today's session, Brother Ishaq Asif. Brother Ishaq Asif, could you please open the screen and do the concluding session? Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون صدق الله العظيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين. First of all, I would like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity in organizing this webinar for the awareness of cyber crimes. I would also like to thank our speaker, Brother Salih, for a very wonderful and informative session. Today's session, this session mainly focused on the potential threats online in our daily life. And it was a need of this hour. It was a need of the hour. It has, Brother Saleh has clearly mentioned that the main threat is our own self as a human error, because of the lack of awareness of these all potential threats. So the offenders are getting more sophisticated and bringing up new ideas and new techniques to scam the people, scam the innocent people. So Brother Saleh has mentioned many types of threats like phishing attacks, which we receive in our daily life via email, SMS, and through the social media. And the risk of these phishing attacks are we lose our valuable information like our identity, our data, and our money. These are the valuable things that we lose, and there are millions of people falling as a victim. And there are different other types of threats Brother Saleh has mentioned, like malware attacks and ransomwares. So, and he also mentioned different techniques like different frauds, types of frauds the hackers or the offenders usually use to scam the people. And because of the lack of awareness, we fall a victim, like lotteries, online job offers, and matrimonial frauds, charity fraud, dumpster diving, which destroy, which we need to destroy our media, our belongings, personal belongings before we throwing away. So also he mentioned the safe browsing tips and some social media etiquettes. So thank you very much, Brother Saleh. It was a wonderful session, and we really enjoyed it. And we hope that you will be contributing and enlightening us with your knowledge in future as well, inshallah. Jazakallahu khair. And any queries regarding this session, you can send us through WhatsApp, through our WhatsApp number. We shall consult this with our speaker and get back to you, inshallah. So, dear brothers and sisters, we all know that Islam is a universal religion, and it applies to all aspects of our life. It is not only a spiritual need fulfilled by the Muslims in mosques through prayers and supplications, but rather it is a comprehensive way of life which covers all aspects without any exception. We have seen from the very beginning of the Islam, our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has inculcated a sense of brotherhood and a bond of faith among his followers. And as I said, the guidance of Islam is not only spiritual, but also focused on societal welfare. IMA Youth Wing aims the same in developing the personality of youth associated with a view to make a better human being who contributes to the society at large. It provides a common platform presenting spiritual, educational, moral, and ethical values, supporting the communities and social services, and fostering good relation with other communities and organizations. So Youth Wing activities also includes providing vocational courses and educational courses like MS Excel, safety courses, Quran learning, and other activities of social services, which includes distributing ration kits in different parts of Kuwait to the needy people. Also the financial support to the people back home in India through Vision 2026 projects. Youth Wing also organizes programs and webinars on current issues of world. We also provide training on personality development of members and public in general through our programs. We are geographically located in all parts of Kuwait. To know more about us, please visit our website www.imayouthwing.org. In addition to this, you can visit our social media accounts like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So the handle will be mentioned in the chat box. You may also contact us directly through our PR number, which is 97124000. This is available on WhatsApp as well. And as I said before, if you have any queries related to this session, you can text us. We will consult our speaker and get back to you, inshallah. So we hope that you have benefited a lot from today's webinar, and we also wish to work with you all in collaboration for making a better society to live in. Let's join hands together in constructing better society. Youth Wing is looking forward to join our team towards self-discovery and contributing to achieving ultimate success in both the worlds, inshallah. So thank you everyone once again for joining with us today. Have a wonderful day and weekend. Jazakumullah khair. Wa aqud dawana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.